It was the return of the XFL, Vince McMahon, as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, his ex-wife and longtime business partner Danny Garcia, showed off their new league this weekend. And I will have to say, the gameplay for the 4 games that took place this weekend, if you watched any of it, which Reg did not, so I watched it for him.
I also watched a couple games.
Oh, did you?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Renegades and Defenders.
You watched the local, and that was the first one. It was pretty much supposed to be a show off game, like a showcase game to start, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got 3 TVs at the house, so at one point it was on.
Oh.
And I was not actively watching it. Very limited amount of time.
Okay.
And then also I was at places yesterday where the game was on again.
Okay.
Not featured by any means, but it was on. So I technically have seen with my eyes some XFL football, but
okay,
it was not like watching. If you know what I mean, like it was on. You know, there's a difference. So,
well, the Renegades, the Arlington Renegades, open up the XFL season with a 22-20 win over the Vipers. Shout out to the defense in the second half for the Bob Stoops-led Arlington Renegades who got it done.
Was the defense good or was the offense bad? Because sometimes it'd be like,
well, the Vipers offense in the first half was cooking pretty good. They got a nice little receiver named Jeff Bidet who had a couple touchdowns.
You lying to me right now.
What?
His name is Jeff Bidet?
Yeah, Badet.
Oh.
Yeah, relax, Reg.
Look,
relax.
I'm very pro Bidet. You know what I mean? So like, I was like, I might have to like him just off the strength. You know what I mean?
For the first season, hey Kev, the XFL is boring. Stop hyping it up. If you watch some of the football, it wasn't bad actually. I'll get to that in just a moment. But the defense for the Renegades in the second half was actually pretty good. Luis Perez threw a couple of pick sixes.
I was like, I think that name sounds familiar.
The quarterback for the Vipers threw 2 pick sixes, and the defense
that's where I seen him.
only allowed 6 points in the second half to get the 22-20 win. The Roughnecks,
he threw 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, 2 pick sixes. Yeah, it was rough for him in the second half.
Was they like great plays on the football, or just like he forgot which jersey color he was throwing to?
Oh, there were good plays on the football.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was what Ben DiNucci threw a little bit later on.
All right.
You'll hear in a second. The Roughnecks of Houston destroyed the Orlando Guardians. That is because, now this is where the bad part of the XFL showed up.
Uh-oh.
Paxton Lynch. Never forget Paxton Lynch. The dude in 2016 that your owner, president, and general manager, Gerald Wayne Jones,
he went full go.
Wanted to draft.
Oh my goodness.
For the Dallas Cowboys to be the future of this franchise. That Paxton Lynch, who couldn't make a start in the Canadian Football League, got the start for the Orlando Guardians, and he was awful. So much so, Reg, they benched his ass in the game. He couldn't even make it through an XFL game.
You know you down bad when you might be the most notable, the most visible and known player in the league, or at least as a quarterback.
At least one of them, anyway.
And you the one out there that's looking bad,
bruh. Wade Phillips' defense for the Roughnecks was getting after Paxton Lynch.
Like, you supposed to be dunking on the 7-foot rim right now. You playing against the middle schoolers. Like, why?
Can't even do that.
That's tough.
Yeah, man.
That's
Paxton
tough.
Lynch. That was the bad part of the XFL. That showed up in large quantities in the Guardians Roughnecks game, as the Roughnecks scored 33 points en route to that win. That's right. Luis Perez, D2 national championship quarterback for Texas A&M Commerce. That's right. Played well in the first half. Not so much in the second half.
Oh, he couldn't string 2 halves together?
No.
I guess I shouldn't expect. Look, we ain't got enough quarterbacks for the NFL. It's tough to get more quarterbacks for the XFL and the USFL.
Which gets us to Sunday's action. Now, the first game, actually both games on Sunday were actually pretty good, especially in the late fourth quarter for the St. Louis BattleHawks taking on the San Antonio Brahmas. Now, the Brahmas are going to be the team, their city, San Antonio, is going to be hosting the first ever XFL championship game at the end of the season, as was announced during the broadcast.
Of course, Alamo Dome, great place to be.
And the crowds, that's one thing that I appreciated.
People showed up.
People showed up for this.
Well, it's accessible. We talked about this a little bit on the weekend. I have at least 2 or 3 different friends that I know were at XFL games. I had a friend that was at the San Antonio Brahmas game. Brahmas apparently. I know I have somebody who's a season ticket holder for the Renegades. At least one. I believe our very own Carter Freeman might have been out there at the Renegades game yesterday or on Saturday. So yeah, I know people were out there, and I also know how much it costs, and it's not that much to be out there for the Renegades games, a single game or the whole damn season, right? You can get that for the low. And that means something, man. Like for folks that really love football or folks that want a thing to do, if you can get it for the low and be out there, man, like it's worthwhile. And I was interested in what the experience was. So I texted my friend a few times, and he was like, yeah, it was pretty good. He enjoyed himself. He's like, the football was good. I got to pull up the text message again to see exactly what he said. But for the large part, I remember the vibe of him being just like, yeah, no, man, it's cool. We out here.
Yeah, I thought the Houston Roughnecks crowd was very good for them in their home debut.
Ooh, can I mention this real quick? It did seem like most everybody, except for the Brahmas, was in a big-ass stadium.
Yeah, in the Alamo Dome, yeah.
Seemed like everybody, they did a great job of picking stadiums that fit what they were doing.
Yes.
I saw that the DC team, they're the Defenders, right?
That's right.
They were playing at Audi Field, which is where DC United plays.
That's
Soccer
right.
stadium. Houston, they were playing at TDECU Stadium, which is where the University of Houston plays.
That's right.
A little bit tighter, right? Obviously, the Renegades playing at Choctaw Stadium. I think the upper deck looked a little empty, but like that's a stadium that now is basically high school and some other things that are happening. Like they've tried to cull these things into places where the experience will be good because you're close enough to the field for it to all feel the way it needs to.
And what I thought was one of the best games of the weekend of the 4 that we saw, the BattleHawks, and shout out to AJ McCarron, former Alabama product.
Still in the league.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Lit it up with the son of Ricky Prohl, Austin Prohl, for this game-winning touchdown.
3rd and 7. McCarron has a receiver. Caught! Touchdown St. Louis, and a flag on the play. That is Prohl.
There is no foul for a personal foul by the defense. The play results in a touchdown.
Oh, he played for St. Louis. I know he played for St. Louis.
Yeah, so shout out to Austin Prohl, who is the son of Ricky Prohl. Now, if you remember Ricky Prohl, remember he caught that game-winning touchdown that one time for the St. Louis Rams against the Tampa Bay Bucks in the NFC title game. They knew what
they was doing. They was like, you got to play in St. Louis, bro.
Hey, how about it?
We got to have people recognize that name and maybe buy that jersey off the strength. Come on.
Yeah, but A.J. McCarron balled out, especially late in the fourth quarter, as the BattleHawks got the 18-15 win. Now, they scored 15 points in the fourth quarter to get the win, down by double digits with less than 3 minutes left in the game. So they got the win there. And then the DC Defenders, this is where we get to some of the football.
Oh, it was nasty?
A little bit for your man Ben DiNucci. Now, we're going to start off with the good of Ben DiNucci, because he went out there and went whole Patrick Mahomes schoolyard football style and hooked up with Josh Gordon for this touchdown.
2nd and goal from the 6. DiNucci. Running to the left out of the pocket, just flips it. Oh, what a catch. Josh Gordon, a 6-yard TD catch off the flip by DiNucci.
So, but DiNucci gets flushed out to his left from the pocket, and he goes full Patrick Mahomes, shovel pass. And Josh Gordon, all 6'4" of him, fights for the ball and gets the touchdown there. That was the good of Ben DiNucci. The bad, Rigo, it eventually showed up for Ben DiNucci. Take a listen.
3rd and 16. Here comes the pressure. Intercepted. Michael Joseph with the pick 6 and the flips. We'll give you some style points.
He did some flips on the way. Oh, that's disrespect. Oh, I know this one, because this one popped up on my social media, and he was throwing it to no man's
nobody.
land. Oh, boy.
Absolutely nobody. And then to finish it off, for some reason now, the Sea Dragons had a chance to win the game late. DiNucci, for some inexplicable reason, as he starts to try and find a way to run the football, coughs it up on the 3-4 yard line, effectively ending the game because they got the fumble and they didn't have any timeouts left or whatever. And the game ended. The DC Defenders got the 22-18 win in Washington. Another crowd that I thought was extremely loud and I thought was very passionate about the game.
As long as you got DC United fans in there, you was gonna make it work. Question.
Uh-huh.
What was like the prevailing style of play?
I mean, honestly, depending on each team, like you could tell with Bob Stoops and his group, they like to run the football. Typical Bob Stoops team like to run the football, but they had a little bit of passing. But Seattle's supposed to theoretically have the best offense in the XFL. They were throwing it around the lot a little bit. Ben DiNucci was actually playing fairly well before he started to turn the football over as the game went on. But for San Antonio, they're coached by Hines Ward. Good play. I thought the best offense of the weekend was the Roughnecks. Brandon Silver's the quarterback for Houston, throwing it all over the lot.
Am I supposed to remember who that is?
Well, probably not.
Okay, I was like, because it's not helping me out right now.
But they were airing it out, and you'll see for a lot of these teams, like for which coaching staff was it? The Defenders actually, they had a coaching staff of Jim Haslett, Greg Williams. You remember Greg Williams?
Yeah, 2Gs. I saw him saw him pop up on the TV, and I was like, "Is that 2Gs up there?
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Bounty himself?"
Also for the BattleHawks, Anthony Beck is their head coach. But I'm sorry, Greg Williams is on DC Defenders. I think Jim Haslett's on another one. But Wade Phillips is the head coach for the Roughnecks. Hines Ward is the coach for the San Antonio Brahmas. Game management left a lot to be desired. In that particular situation.
He's getting his coaching grind.
Yeah, first year, head coach there.
Now, one thing I'm interested in is because I do remember, if I recall correctly at least, that when was it the XFL last time when they started up, it started with a bang. And the problem is football wears on you. And I wonder if over the course of this spring, if that football quality that you said was pretty good, if that wears down, because that's what football does, man. It's hard to maintain a high level quality because football breaks your body and everything. And then it's a game of attrition where you now have to worry about depth. And we're already talking about the high end of this pool being so. What happens when you got to go your second string, your third string of these guys? I would say I'm interested, but I'm curious. I'm academically curious.
Yeah, the second, third, and fourth weeks as we get deeper and deeper into the season.
Or intellectually, I should say.
Yeah, because there's going to be 10 weeks of the season before they have a couple of games in the XFL championship game. That's going to be a question, is the depth. Once guys get hurt, there's some attrition going on, what the quality of play looks like. But at least for the first week, I thought the pace of play was good, running clock as well. The transparency with some of the with the officiating. So Dean Blandino, who is the XFL vice president of officiating and rules or whatever, he's individually watching every game because they only play obviously one game at a time.
Yep.
So he can watch and be tuned into every game and help make the call for every single one. So I thought some of the stuff was actually pretty good. The rules changes are there. You get, for extra points, for example, 1 point from the 2-yard line, 2 points from the 5-yard line, 3-point tries from the 10-yard line.
They say ain't nobody here to see kickers.
No. So the analytics come into play. And as we get ready to go to break here, did you know the punt god is in the XFL?
Yeah, you let me know.
Your boy Marquette King.
Was he punting?
He was. He's got to get used to the rule changes because if you punt it and it goes out of bounds, the ball automatically goes to the 35-yard line or something like that. So he's got to learn how to just punt the ball down the middle and just, make it happen there.